Good day, Gabrielle. Your mission is to bring together a group of kids from across the island to inform, motivate, educate, and entertain their peers. Do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Okay, Aunt Carol, the team has been assembled. I will assign the agents right away. Our climate is changing, and that means we have to change with it. Experts say it's due to climate change. Agent Ayana, your mission is to explain climate change. Please also tell us how we can adapt.
Hi, I'm Ayana Carter. It's the rainy season, but the days are getting hotter and hotter. Every year, we hear about storms, floods, and hurricanes. At school, we are told what to do if there is an earthquake. We are also told that changes in the weather are due to climate change. But what does that mean? Here to talk to us is a lady who has been working on climate change issues for many years. What is climate change?
Okay, let's start very simply. Climate change has to do with the changes that we see in the weather. It's more over a long time, right? But it's caused by things that have natural changes in the weather as well as what you and I, what people do. So some of those things are, you may notice that the summers are much hotter. They're very hot now. Or sometimes when they say that we'll have rain, we may not have rain. The weather seasons are very unpredictable. The hurricanes tend to be much stronger. So climate change has to do with some of the unexpected changes that we are seeing in the weather patterns.
Why should we pay attention to climate change?
Well, because of what it means for us as an island in Jamaica, because we're so small and where we're set in the sea, we are at risk of the sea levels rising due to climate change. And for some islands in other places, such as the Pacific, have started sinking. And even here in Jamaica, I don't know, have you ever been to Hellshire?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, Hellshire, a lot of people say that it had a lot more beach a few years back than it does now. So there are some places where some of our beaches are getting smaller because the sea is rising and taking it away. And that means that, for example, if a lot of our beaches go, tourists will no longer be coming because they want beach and sand and stuff like that. So, and Also, hurricanes, if we have a lot of hurricanes like Dominica had last year, persons, tourists will also not come to the islands. So small islands like Jamaica stand to lose a lot with their economy, and if we lose our economy, will get poorer. So we really have to pay attention to climate change. And plus, have you ever experienced a hurricane, a storm, anything
No,
like
but
that?
I wish to.
Uh-oh. That's what I said too when I was 12 years old. And we had Hurricane Gilbert, and it was a horrific experience, and I was like, I don't want to ever experience another hurricane. But since then, I've been through maybe 5 or 6 more hurricanes. So I hope you don't get to experience one still.
Okay. How does climate change affect our food?
Our food? Okay, one of the things that happens with climate change is that the scientists say that we will see a lot more drought. Do you know what a drought is?
No.
A drought is when there is very little rainfall and we don't have enough water to meet the needs of, say, our farmers. So if the farmers don't have water to water the plants, we won't have any food, no yam, potato, onions, all the things that we depend on for our regular food. And therefore we would have what's called a food shortage. And that makes the price of food more expensive, because if you can't get it, you'll pay more for it. And it also will mean that we'll go hungry and we will get sick a lot more easily, because if you're not eating properly, your defense system goes down. So climate change does have a serious effect on our food supply through droughts.
What can we do about it?
Okay, what are some of the things that you can do as a youngster? Do you have any ideas what you could do?
Well, I really like gardening, so I would garden and plant new plants, fresh plants, and crops, so we don't run out.
That's an excellent idea. Backyard farming is one of the things that we love to encourage, because you can feed yourself, you can feed your family members, and maybe sell some to make a little pocket money. So that's a very, very good thing. You can also save energy at home, because when you save energy, it cuts your light bill, and then you use less oil. We use less oil as a nation, and that cuts down climate effects, right? So like not going into the fridge and standing up deciding what you want, or turning off the lights when you're not using them. You can also plant a tree, because trees trap carbon and help to provide a greener atmosphere, which helps with climate change. So at your school, you can be a part of your environment club, and you have a tree planting day. So that could be one thing that you guys do. And just read up a lot about what climate change is and how it can affect you. Those are some of the things that we can do.
Okay, why is planting trees a good thing?
I just told you. Tell me what you understand by that.
I understand that it gives us more oxygen, because trees provide oxygen. And by planting trees, you can make many things. We make paper, trees, we use wood from trees, and many other things. And trees provide food for us, food for all of us. No trees, no food. No rain, no food. So that's why I think planting trees are good.
That's excellent. I can see that you're learning a lot in class, but that's really very important. And internationally, one of the good things about planting trees, when countries plant trees, there's an international organization called the United Nations Framework on Climate Change. It's a long name, but what they do is that they actually pay some countries to keep their forests and keep their trees. So that also, because they want everybody to what they call mitigate climate change. So that's a new word that you learn. But because the trees trap carbon, that is also very important in helping to cut the gases that a country releases.
Thank you for speaking with me. Have a great day.
You too. It was my pleasure being here.
Good job, Agent Ayana. Now, Agent Kevon, there's been a lot of excitement in Jamaica after the National Festival Song Finals. We need an update on the longest running song competition in Jamaica.
Help me big up Jamaica.
Big Up Jamaica is the song you will hear from Jamaica's 57th anniversary of independence. It is being celebrated under the theme, One Nation, One People. Big Up Jamaica is the song that won this year's National Festival competition.
Help me big up Jamaica. Everyone be Jamaica. We now roll let Jamaica.
The 2019 National Festival Song Competition was a closely contested one. The winner was Loaded, eager with his entry, Big Up Jamaica.
Help me big up Jamaica. We everyone be Jamaica. We now roll let Jamaica. We just love be Jamaica. Help me big up Jamaica. We everyone be Jamaica.
Ali Bless was second with Queen Jamaica.
I'm sure that you all agree. Won't you sing this song with me? Pick up Queen Jamaica. Smile cause you think, why enough things better and wonderful. Queen Jamaica. Ribbidi-bam-bidi-bam-bidi.
Jay Smith was third with his song embassy appointment.
I saw me. I saw me. I saw me no. I saw him Jamaica. Jamaica suit me just right. I saw me no. I saw well nice.
Director Gabriel, to answer your question, the longest running song competition in Jamaica is the National Festival Song Competition. I am Agent Kevon. Mission accomplished.
Proud Jamaicans!
Agent Zaria, your mission is to find the youngest to master violinist in Jamaica. Here is a clue. He received a distinction from the Associate Board of Royal Schools of Music in London for any instrument.
I'm going to do the third movement of the concerto.
David Martin is just 6 years old. He has already mastered the violin.
The violin is actually one of the more complex instruments that we have. There are a number of instruments that are somewhat simpler or more straightforward, but the violin is very complex, but very good to study. Very, very good for the students to do. David got a distinction in his music exam. He's a very good student, really hardworking, very disciplined, and of course his parents are also very much there because this is also very important. The organized household in terms of getting them to practice on a daily basis is very, very important. He got the award for being the youngest distinction student. He got, I think, the award for the grade 2 as well, being the highest. So it's a number of awards that he got. And I'm very proud of him. I think he's done very, very well.
Experts say being able to master an instrument like the violin helps children do better in school. David currently does Spanish at school. He went online to teach himself French. Studies also show that children who play stringed instruments like the violin have better posture, hand-eye coordination, upper body strength, and language skills. They are extremely focused and have excellent social skills.
Absolutely. All of these things go very, very much hand in hand. But the thing about it, what you really want to do is to stimulate the brain, to try to find ways of educating the students about all various things. And within all of that, we will talk about the terms of posture and various things like that. Because without good posture, without all of these things, you're physically not able to play.
David's love of music has borne fruit. He has excelled at playing the violin, making himself and those who hear him happy. I am Zaria Sterling. Mission accomplished.
It's summer. Time to unplug all the electronic devices and head outside to have some fun. A great place to do so is at the Hope Zoo in Kingston. There, you can learn about a range of animals, including a giant flightless bird. It can cover 5 meters in a single stride. Its egg weighs approximately 3 pounds. Agent Cassidy, your mission is to tell us about the giant bird. Also, do they really bury their heads in the sand?
An ostrich is the world's largest bird. They are not only the largest bird, they also lay the largest eggs.
If you were going to compare it, for instance, to a chicken egg, an ostrich egg would have the equivalent amount of yolk to 2 dozen chicken eggs. An ostrich egg is nearly impossible to break. You can literally put your whole body weight on it. I've done it. I don't recommend people try it. I've also had a rotting egg explode on me, so don't do that. But the design of an egg, of all birds' eggs, is made to be very, very strong. It's made to sustain a lot of pressure. The parents have to sit on it. They have to be able to survive wind blowing. And if you think of ostriches out in the deserts in Africa, they really have to be able to withstand cracking from a number of animals that would try and eat them. So yes, ostrich eggs are really, really strong.
They have 3 stomachs and can go without water for a long time.
A lot of animals, including ostriches, are designed to be able to absorb every drop of water from what they eat and to retain that water in their bodies for long periods of time, because the areas that they come from will go for very long periods of time without seeing any water at all.
Do they bury their head in the sand?
It is a myth, it's not true. Remembering that they have to really defend themselves, and if indeed they did hide their head in the sand every time a lion, a leopard or a cheetah came close, I don't think there would be many ostriches left today. Maybe the theory came from they often are looking for food, foraging for food. They'll eat almost anything to fill their stomachs. So they'll be digging in holes, looking in holes for roots and tubers and things to keep them alive in the desert. And possibly a person sometime witnessed an ostrich digging in a hole and then the animal was taken by a predator. Maybe this is where that theory came from, but no, ostriches don't hide their head in the sand when they're afraid.
They can run very fast.
Ostriches are extremely fast running, probably the fastest running long distance animal. They can run up to 70 kilometers an hour and keep those speeds up for extremely long distances. So even though a cheetah is the fastest running land mammal, over long distance, an ostrich will, through stamina, be able to get away. Ostriches are flightless birds. So not only do they run fast, they have to be able to defend themselves against predators without flying away from them. So they utilize those feet as a defense mechanism. Their feet are weapons. You think of an animal that can carry their body weight, the largest bird in the world that can run 70 miles an hour. You can imagine the strength in the legs. So those legs are made to kick. If you look at the toe, they're the only 2-toed bird. And the largest toe has a claw or a talon that is able to cut into whatever they kick. So they kick with high pressure. One kick from an ostrich has the ability to kill a lion.
The males roar like a lion.
They let out a very, very interesting bellowing sound that does sound quite similar to what you would think a lion would sound like. So at night they let out the sound, and it can be quite scary if people don't know what they're listening to.
They have the biggest eyes. Its eye is bigger than its brain.
An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. But if you think about why it is that way, ostriches come from open, flat, desertous type regions. They have to be able to see predators coming from an extremely large distance. So their vision is extremely, extremely good, and their binocular vision is magnificent. They can see items from long distances, much further than the human eye could see. So, you know, some people would say an ostrich is a bird brain. I'm very cautious of putting any animal into that kind of category because they are designed, if you will, for survival. And so they're not going to outsmart their predator, but they're definitely going to be able to see it coming from a long distance, and they're going to be able to outrun it.
They are team players.
Ostriches will team up with other savanna animals, including zebras. There's a lot of animals that do gather together for different purposes. Some animals have very good eyesight, some animals have very good sense of smell, some animals have very good sense of hearing. So all these animals staying together in the savannas are able to protect themselves from predators.
I am Cassidy. Mission accomplished.
Thanks, Agent Cassidy. There are other fascinating animals that can be found at the Hope Zoo. The one we will see next has its image at the top of the Jamaican coat of arms. They can live up to 80 years. It has the strongest bite of any animal in the world. Although they have very sharp teeth, the mother carries her babies in a pouch inside her mouth. The mission: to find out all there is to know about crocodiles. Do they cry?
Crocodiles are reptiles, but they are also closely related to birds.
Scientists have done a lot of research into it, and they've shown that if you look at DNA research and DNA studies and also at their physiology, they're closely related to birds.
Crocodiles are among the world's oldest living animals. Scientists say they coexisted with the dinosaur.
Its belly is soft. Its back is made up of a bony substance which makes it bulletproof.
There's certain parts of the body. They have the scutes on the back. You can see these on the back over here are called scutes. And they are very, very bony. And that would protect them like an armor. But they do have parts of their body that are very soft. For instance, the belly is a much softer skin.
They have a lot of fat in their tails and can go without food for up to 2 years. Though they have very sharp teeth, crocodiles don't chew their food. Instead, they tear their food into large chunks before swallowing. They also swallow stones to help them digest their food.
Some birds do that too. There are animals that do that, especially animals that are unable to chew their food and swallow their food in large chunks will utilize stones and debris to actually help break down the food that they are eating.
Crocodiles have huge jaws and a very powerful bite. Nevertheless, you can use your hands to keep their mouth closed.
They have a strong pressure when biting down, but they don't have a lot of strength to open the mouth. So it's very easy to just hold the mouth closed with your hands, with even a large crocodile. But once that bite is clamped down on you, it's nearly impossible to open up.
Crocodiles are often seen sunning themselves with their mouth wide open.
A crocodile gaping its mouth is to thermoregulate, which means to control its temperature. So they utilize opening their mouth to monitor that they don't get too hot and too cool at the same time. So they have to sun themselves, they do need to get the rays from the sun, and they do need to keep themselves warm to metabolize the food, to digest the food that they have. They have to lie in the sun to sun themselves, but they also don't want to allow themselves to overheat. So they open their mouths, and that's similar to when you see a dog panting to cool itself down. The crocodile opens its mouth.
Crocodiles are great swimmers. Their powerful tail helps them swim fast. They have excellent eyesight and can stay underwater for up to 30 minutes. Jamaica's crocodiles are on the endangered species list, due in part to the actions of man.
We see them as very dangerous animals, so people fear them. And this is one of the reasons they're persecuted and why we land up with the animals here as rescue animals. The best thing we can do is try and educate people that they're actually very beneficial. The crocodiles really look after our watershed areas, they look after our wetlands here. Without the crocodile, we would have creatures dying in our waters that would pollute our waters and make our waters undrinkable here in Jamaica. And the crocodile is one of those animals that really assists us in making sure that nothing stays very long if it has died in the water. They eat that up. And I think that could be another perception. Maybe an animal has died in the water or drowned, and then you'll see a crocodile here in Jamaica feeding off that animal. But they don't tend to be an animal that poses a threat to humans as long as they are left alone.
Injured crocodiles are taken to the Hope Zoo in Kingston, which is Jamaica's National Rescue Center. When they are healthy, they are released into the wild. Some say that's why they can be seen crying.
Crocodiles don't cry for the same reason we would cry, but we have tear ducts to lubricate the eye, and crocodiles also have ducts that would help to lubricate the eye.
So crocodiles don't cry because they are released into the wild or because they feel sorry for their prey. They shed tears when they eat because they swallow too much air. This touches a gland that causes them to shed tears. I'm Gabriel Samuels. Mission accomplished. There are so many other adventures that we can embark on this summer. Agent Ayana, your mission is to find a family adventure that is free, sparks learning, is rooted in discovery, and offers creative exploration.
During the summer, every Saturday is free. Every last Sunday in the month, it is free to visit the National Gallery of Jamaica. It is the oldest and largest public art museum in the English-speaking Caribbean. On July 28, they launched an exhibition with over 60 artists. On display are over 97 works of art. Most of them are being displayed for the first time.
A summer exhibition is an opportunity for everyone to really get a sense of what types of new emerging arts and ideas are happening, who are the names that we should be looking out for, what are the forms that are now being created by artists of the current generation. So over on my left, I have a ink, gouache, and collage on paper drawing by Shoshana Weinberger. One of the interesting things about her particular subject matter is that she is very interested in bodies. And a lot of her works tend to depict these grotesque, sometimes disfigured figures, but the figures have a kind of pride to them. They're bossy in the space. And so Tropical Tan is the name of this one. So even though you're really just getting the sense of maybe head and hair, breast, limbs, and a lot of hips and middle section, but there's a kind of brashness to the work, and that is typical of Shoshana Weinberger's work. This is one of two pieces that she has in the NGJ Summer Exhibition. Right beside her, we have Samir Tansley, who is one of our more traditional but very experienced painters. Samir is known for producing portraits of black women in almost hyper detail, but she also does a lot of still lifes as well. And what's interesting about her still lives is that she monumentalizes them. They're usually very, very large and very, very detailed. And I mean, for me as a curator, it was interesting kind of putting these two together, where you're seeing an older, more established tradition being juxtaposed against a newer approach to image making.
The artists using print, paint, wood, pictures, and ceramics. The exhibition showed how fabric can also be used to make exciting works of art.
It really says something about how we even think about what the high arts of our island are, because people tend to think about paintings and sculptures and maybe to an extent ceramics as being the fine arts of Jamaica, but we have very rich textile traditions here, and we really, really like the fact that so many of these artists are a part of this show.
A visit to the National Gallery will stimulate your imagination. It also allows you to have frank, open discussions with your family about things that get passed over in day-to-day life. For example, the work of art done by Laura Facey, which captures a part of our history. It is called 62 Men and 63 Women.
Laura Facey, of course, is a renowned sculptor. She's also a regular exhibitor here at the National Gallery. This piece is almost in dedication to the 62 men and 63 women who were slaves on the plantation that she now calls home. And in fact, just behind the boat, you're seeing a super-sized ledger. This is a ledger that her family had researched and essentially found the names of the 62 men and 63 women, along with the horse and the cow and the goat and the other livestock that were there. So not only are you getting names, but you're also getting the prices that were attached to them. So how much how much pounds this person was worth versus someone else. And I mean, this is a very personal work for Laura because it's about her home, Mount Plenty, where she lives in St. Anne. In terms of the total setup, we would call a work like this an installation, meaning that it's not a two-dimensional work, or it doesn't only have two-dimensional components, it has other three-dimensional components as well, and it takes up space. So Laura has essentially included or juxtaposed the super-sized ledger with a dugout canoe, and it would appear that this canoe was essentially dug out of a tree trunk, and that tradition also comes out of our Taino tradition as well. They used to use the big cotton trees and dig the trunks out, or hollow the trunks out to make boats. And she has put this canoe on top of a pile of limestone. So it gives you that sense of voyage, of sea, of travel. But when you look inside the canoes, there are small statuettes of 62 male figures and 63 male figures. And those statuettes, you can speculate to be a representation of the people that are registered on the ledger behind. And it's an interesting juxtaposition because normally we don't always know the names of the slaves who were our forefathers. But here, one person has been able to kind of go into that history and actually put a name to all those persons. So even though when you look in the boat, the statuettes are almost identical in terms of the male and female figures, but they have an identity when you look at the ledger.
A visit to the National Gallery offers a safe, engaging, and comfortable place for quality time with family. During the summer, every Saturday is free. I'm Agent Ayana, mission accomplished.
Jamaica can easily be called the food adventure capital of the world. Everywhere you look, there is someone selling delicious local dishes such as jerk chicken, curry goat, patties, dukunu, gizadas, toto, blue draws, and a whole lot more. Jamaica is also known for its wonderful ground provisions and seafood. Agent Ajani, your mission is to find a restaurant that serves delicious organic vegetables and seafood.
What is your name?
Hey, I'm Lloyd Thomas, owner and executive chef of Organic Seafood Network located at 19 Balmoral Avenue. We're specialists in organic food, organic cooking. We get our products fresh almost every day, all the seafood from the sea to your plate. Well, today we're going to do shrimp burger and curry pineapple shrimp for you. Also, we're going to have something special for the grown folks. You know, nice garlic wrap. Yeah, let's go.
And Carol, we have successfully completed the mission. Agent Gabriel, over and out.